Uranus is on the back of this watch. It's really easy to open up the little... So today we are talking about Uranus. And Mission to Uranus, the MoonSwatch. This is a MoonSwatch right here. I have it, it's in a blue color. It has a blue dial with a white bezel. This is probably one of my least favorite colors. However, I went to Swatch and they had it available, so I bought it and I wanted to do a review on it. I want to do a review on all of the MoonSwatches. However, that's probably not realistic because they are still so hard to get a year after they were announced. Still very, very hard to get. Still people lining up for these watches, which I find absolutely crazy. They just announced the second round of Moonshine Gold MoonSwatches. And of course, here in New York City, one of the cities announced, I think it was around 10 cities that they announced, and they announced New York City. I will not be waiting in line for that watch because gold-plated secondhand on a watch that I've already owned is not really that appealing to me. However, I know that there will be a lot of people waiting online, and there will be cameras there from Swatch sort of recording the whole thing, making sure that everybody knows that there's still hype around these watches. However, that being said, you can now walk into a Swatch store and buy watches like this. You can get Uranus there. You can get Mission to Uranus there. You can get a whole bunch of other versions of it. I believe the only one that you are not able to get is the blue. I think that's the Neptune. You're not able to get that one yet because they're still perfecting the color on that one. It might be available at one spot in the city or something like that, New York City, not anywhere else. I don't know. That's a bunch of BS. But anyway, today we're taking a look at Uranus. And again, I mean the watch. A lot of Uranus jokes in this, or I'm just going to be saying Uranus a lot in this video. So if you are uncomfortable with that, I apologize. I will put a link to a different video up above right now. And you can click on that. There'll be a little bit less Uranus in it, and you could be very comfortable with that. Anyway, so moving on. So this is the Speedmaster Mission to Uranus MoonSwatch. So that means you're getting a blue case and blue dial. It's sort of a baby blue color. It has a white strap. These straps are pretty terrible. I've said this in a number of videos. They feel like cardboard and they don't last very long. So my suggestion to anyone buying a MoonSwatch, change the strap immediately. You will have a watch that will last actually a lot longer than it would have. That strap is not good. It will fall apart pretty quickly, especially if you wear it on a daily basis. This watch in general is really not a daily wear. One of the biggest problems with this watch, with the Mission to the Moon or any of the other mission to whatever, you're always going to have a problem with the crystal. The crystal on these watches are made with plastic, not acrylic, so they will scratch very, very easily. And if you buff them out, eventually they will get so thin that obviously you won't have a crystal anymore. This has the exact same setup as every other Speedmaster MoonSwatch that you have seen. You have sunken dials for the 3 registers of the chronograph. You have a minute track, and then of course you have painted on indices. Those painted on indices are in a superluminova, I would imagine, and then you have white hands and then a little bit of an arrow second hand. All of those are filled with lume. Lume on these watches, not that great. Obviously, I'll throw up a lume shot here. One of the things besides the strap that I really don't like about MoonSwatches in general is the bezel. The bezel is basically a sticker. It sticks onto that little flat area that they call a bezel. This is all one piece as well. It's hermetically sealed. So the only thing you could really do is change the battery. That bezel does not come off, the case back does not come off, and that crystal doesn't come off. So when the watch stops working, you do need to throw it out and buy a new one. However, I would imagine there are people out there trying to figure out how they can actually service these watches. I've seen a few people actually upgrade these to AliExpress cases. You could put a stainless steel case and use the innards from this watch and put it into another. So that's something that you could actually do when this watch ends up dying. So something to keep in mind. Maybe buy one, keep it in a drawer somewhere, and then when the watch actually dies, you could switch out the movement and use the dial for a stainless steel version using an AliExpress case. The case on here is, of course, bioceramic. It's essentially plastic. It's ceramic mixed with castor oil, and essentially it's a watch that feels like plastic, however, kind of looks like ceramic. This measures in like a Speedmaster because it was obviously modeled after a Speedmaster, the Speedmaster Professional, so obviously it will wear like one that feels very light on the wrist. You're getting 30 meters of water resistance with this. Obviously, you're not going to go diving or swimming with this watch. And of course, you do have a battery hatch on the back of the watch. That's where you actually can change the battery if the battery goes dead. Anyway, that's really it. These are pretty controversial watches. Most of the comments that I get on videos that I do for these watches are negative, with good reason. Swatch mishandled the release of these watches. I don't think they're worth $260. That's what they actually charge for these watches. They definitely are not worth $260. And if you are paying over $260 on the secondary market, that is a huge mistake. Keep your money in your pocket. And I think most people out there, when these become more widely available, the price that these should settle down at on the secondary market is probably around $150. These are non-limited editions, so the price eventually will come back to normal, $260 on the secondary market, and then eventually below that, I think, when more of them are actually produced. They're trying to keep up the hype with Moonshine Gold second hands and all this BS. April 2nd, or April 6th, excuse me, is when they're actually going to be coming out with that watch in 10 different locations. If you're interested, they're not going to be releasing these online anytime soon or ever, so you'll have to wait in line for those. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the Moon? I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the Moonwatch? What do you think of this new Moonshine Gold that they keep on coming out with on the full moons, is what basically they are doing. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. I know a lot of people do not like these watches. I think it's my responsibility to bring information about these watches to you. And of course, you could add a negative or a positive comment down below. I appreciate all comments and I like to hear all of your feedback, and all of that feedback eventually gets incorporated into these videos that I do for MoonSwatches, so I do appreciate them. Please give me a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.